You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Hey, welcome to I Am Refocused Radio. Once again, we are here today and we have another show lined for y'all today. Today, we have a special guest, Monique Pearson. She has a website that you can go check out. It is IamMoniquePearson.com. We're going to learn everything about her and her brand. First and foremost, I want to say thank you for your time talking to us today. How are you doing?
Thanks, Ryan. So happy to be here. Thank you for allowing me to come on your platform and share this afternoon. Super excited to be here.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate your time. You are an author. You are a founder and CEO. You are also a military vet. I want to say thank you for your service. You know everything about leadership and branding and being your own boss. So first and foremost, kind of share with the audience, how did you get started with forming your brand?
Well, I'm actually, I will say, fairly new to the entrepreneur life. Came of a result as a part of the pandemic, like so many others, having all that time on my hands. I had some time to sit and reflect and see where my satisfaction level was with life at that time. And I just found that it could be improved. And for me, that meant doing something that I loved, that lit me up. And for me, that has been and always will be, more than likely, travel. So Soaring Without Limits Enterprises, affectionately known as SWOLE, the acronym, started as a travel agency with me wanting to inspire women to get out and travel and see the world. I know it sounds funny starting a travel agency in the middle of the pandemic. So I started out with a course first until we were able to start traveling again. And then I started hosting international trips. My first one was to Dubai. Then we went to Bali, going back to Dubai again, Africa. So as much as I can to bring the world to those who may not be comfortable going out to see it for themselves. That is just what lights me up and brings me joy. So that's how we initially started. And then we branched off into now I'm doing more. So also mindset coaching work and have a community, the Triple E tribe, for women who are in male dominant industries, because typically that's where I've been in my professional space for the past almost 30 years.
And like you said, Soaring Without Limits Enterprises, you are empowering women through travel and personal growth. Let's talk about that, because there's a lot of mental blocks or fears that can hold women back or people in back in general, but specifically to your clients, you are focusing on women. What are some of the common mental blocks that you've noticed just knowing their story and also where they are when they meet you?
I would say for the most part, fear of the unknown. Those who have never even been on a plane, don't have a passport, and get caught up in the news propaganda and the fear of the unknown. So they're trapped in that fear, unwilling to take that step. And I think for some people, having someone as a form of reference or someone who has been there and can hold your hand and guide you and give you that placation that this is going to be okay, like any other new experience that you have had, until you try it, you really don't know what you're capable of. So I think serving as that guide to them to be able to help them out on their first step, just like when you're holding a child's hand when they're learning how to walk, I feel like I'm serving somewhat in that capacity, because most of the women that I have been working with are fairly new to that. So it's getting over those initial fears, where that fear may have stemmed from, and to be able to change their perspective as they can see this as an opportunity for growth, because you can also translate the confidence that comes as a part, the willingness, the openness to be able to expose yourself to new cultures, new traditions, just new ways of thinking. You can bring that back to your personal as well as your professional life. So I see it also as a form of personal growth, to be honest with you as well.
You also have a course entitled Brainfood for our audience. Kind of break that down for us. What is that about, and how has that been able to be another set of tools for your clients to enjoy?
Yeah, so Brainfood mindset of a winner, that came from me wanting to share with those who may be recovering from low self-esteem, self-doubt, those who have may have faced trauma, whether it be in their childhood or young adulthood, such as myself, and sharing those tools and principles that I use to be able to go from a person who was super shy, introverted, always wanted to be in the shadows, never spoke, to one who's grown into the person that I am today, who is comfortable sharing her story of overcoming sexual molestation, date rape, who has been able to overcome some of the harder issues that many women may have faced in life, and showing them that there is hope on the other side. So that course is speaking to how you can take things which may be a tragedy or may be a valley, and to give you some insights as to how you may see your way through that and come out better on the other side. So we were dealing with a lot of mindset work, one, how to find your voice, how to come back from, as I said, for some of life's greater obstacles that may be thrown your way. So it's 3 little mini courses that are in there. That also was a part of the coaching work that I was doing with the women in order to even get them on a plane. And now that is encompassed in the Triple E Tribe, which is the online community where I'm not just myself. I partnered with some of my thought leaders in the mental health space, the spiritual space, financial space, wellness space. So I have a whole community that will be pouring into these women and helping them to improve, not only personally, but also professionally, and just be able to have that support that they need.
When it comes to having a mindset shift, I mean, what are some of the things you've seen women just go through your coaching, your courses, being able to have that shift take place?
One, wanting to be ready. I think sometimes, for a long time, I could even say myself included, you get comfortable in being less than what you're capable of because it's safe. So are you ready to grow from operating in brokenness to learning how to heal those old wounds so that you can bloom into that person who you are always called to be? So I think it's asking yourself those hard questions. Am I continuously going to stay here in this place where I'm used to operating in brokenness and seeing that as my safe spot because I'm familiar with that? Or am I willing to do what I need to do that work to get to that place of wholeness? I would say definitely starts there with more so doing that self-reflection and then noticing the patterns. I think a lot of times people may not take the time to sit and analyze and see what those triggers are that trigger you and get to the root cause of why that may be. More so trying to fill time with activities, spaces, and people so you don't have to sit and feel. It also requires being able to do that, to see what is the point of why am I offended? Why am I getting mad? Why am I just not in tune with what is going on with myself? So first and foremost is doing the work of reconnecting to who you are in this present time and what those trigger points are for you.
You listen to Refocus Radio, talking to our guest today, Monique Pearson. You go to her website, IamMoniquePearson.com. And speaking of that, what you just said, let's dial back, because you as an Army veteran and federal employee, you also love to travel. So kind of illustrate that for the audience. What are some of the things that you took with you from your experiences in the military and your federal experience? And how has that also enlightened you to be able to do what you're doing for these women?
I definitely am my best example to be able to relate to them as to doing it afraid. So I went in the military straight out of high school at 18. So my first time on a plane was going to boot camp. First time traveling out of the country was a result of the military, Korea, Germany. So I did that for 8.5 years. Then after getting out of service, I was an actual contractor for the federal government. So I lived and worked in Kuwait for a year, and then lived and worked in Iraq for 2 years. So that 2 years in Iraq, being in imminent danger every day. My background is ammunition, missiles, and weapons. So I worked at the ammunition storage facility. So that was, of course, the target every day was to take out the munitions. So being in such a hostile, high-paced, dangerous environment, I think I'm definitely the example that I can use as far as how you're able to operate and overcome your fear, because I lived it for so long. Then also with the federal government, I lived and worked in Europe for 3 years, and that required me to go to countries such as Bulgaria, Bosnia, Serbia, oftentimes traveling alone, going to do ammunition inspections for these ammunition suppliers who was supplying our troops in the Middle East. So I have been in like unusual circumstances which faced me, which pretty much I was by myself majority of the time doing this. So that continued to stretch me as an individual to learn how to be able to show others that you are far capable of doing more than what you think you can if you are willing to step out on faith. And then for them, they may not have to do it alone because they'll have myself to be able to guide them. So for me, a lot of times I've had to do a lot of things by myself and use my own experience as the tools to be able to show others as to how you can continue to do things afraid sometimes and not be held hostage by fear. I think that's one thing that I take pride in, is being able to face my fears. And that just gives you a boost of confidence, because once you face one, you're more than likely able to face another, because you just see that, okay, I was able to do that. I never thought that I could. What else am I capable of doing?
When you are helping women to get out of their comfort zone and start living a life that is very, if you can say, colorful, because you can live a life that's kind of like you just settle for, but you're helping them to kind of embrace that opportunity. What does that look like? Because everyone's story is different, but generally speaking, when you're trying to challenge them to go to that next level of their vision or just their life experience, what they want to do, what are some of the tools you try to use to help them realize that opportunity?
One, I would like to take them back to those childhood dreams. Like, what did you imagine yourself doing or seeing yourself being able to go when you were a little girl? Because that's when we, I believe, were the most free. We didn't have the disappointments, the failures, the restrictions on us when we allowed ourselves to dream. So I would like to revisit some of those earlier memories of what they saw of themselves. And then let's go continue to work forward as to why didn't it happen? What has stopped you? Has it been, for many of the women that I work with, is families. You're also the boss, you're the caretaker, you're the mom, and oftentimes they become at the bottom of the priority list. And if life hasn't shown us anything, that tomorrow isn't promised. Many put off for tomorrow what can be done today. And I was like, okay, if you were to leave here on this earth, would you be satisfied with the dash that you have on your headstone in between? And if that answer is no, are you now at a place that you're ready to do something about it? Like, this is the time, not tomorrow. Now is the time to continue to go ahead and move forward in doing something that is going to bring you joy, that is going to stretch you. And then also you can show yourself to be that example to your daughters, to your nieces, to whoever that you are showing and showing up for and showing as a role model by your example. So that is typically what I would lead with, is to put the emphasis on, are you living your best life? And if not, why not? And let's do something about it.
For you being able to have many features on very respected platforms and also receive recognition and awards, excuse me, being able to have those recognition and awards, how do you use that to inspire women and people in general to understand that, hey, I had to build my life and this is the result of it? How do you use that to motivate people to understand that it was a process that you was able to tackle?
I think I've now gotten to a place where I'm comfortable being vulnerable and transparent that the woman you see before you today, like it took me a long time to get here. I would say I'm a late bloomer. It wasn't until like my late 30s that I did the work that I needed to do on myself to heal from past childhood traumas, young adulthood trauma, and to grow into the confidence that I have today, because I can relate to where some of them may be and be the example that you can grow there. And one honor, since you mentioned honors, that I'm proud to have received is a Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award this past year for my volunteer work, starting my charity organization, Professionista, which empowers lower income women or those who are disadvantaged with providing them professional clothing, attire, as well as informal mentorship. So that is also illustrating to them that it's not about what can be done for your benefit, but how can you help another sister, help someone else to be able to give them a leg up, and be that example to them as well. So I think we need to think about it as well as far as how can we play it forward? What altruistic act can we be a part of? And it oftentimes doesn't have to be anything big, because the things that we think we have to go above and beyond and able to help someone, it doesn't take that much. It's just having a willing spirit to be able to play it forward however way and capacity that you can. So I try to be the example by doing what I can in this world to make it better for somebody else as well.
I saw on your other website, Soaring Without Limits, WOLimits.com, you had a PTSD retreat back in June. And I thought that was very interesting. Kind of share with us about some of the events that you do with your brand as well.
Well, that was the inaugural retreat. And unfortunately, I didn't get the numbers that I needed to host that, but I definitely will be planning on having that back on next year. But the emphasis is on that as far as many times when we hear the words PTSD, it's associated to males and it's associated to those in the armed forces. Whereas that if you were to look at the statistics and the numbers, that 1 out of 4 women suffer from PTSD versus 1 out of 8 men in the general population. So women are more highly associated with PTSD. Me being a veteran who has also suffered from that as well, I just wanted to be able to offer a unique service for women who may not have been recognized in that area. And it was not just for veterans, it was open to women as well who suffer from PTSD. So typically in June, which is that month for PTSD awareness, I'm looking for June 2025 to be able to re-offer that as well going forward as doing something as an annual event for SWOLE. So they can definitely stay tuned on my website for more regarding that. And then as far as what we have coming down the pipeline, this next week, actually, August 27th, I'm offering a masterclass, the EEE masterclass, which stands for Elevate, Expand, and Explore in regards to your mindset. For those women who are in male-dominant industries, who are looking for a community to pour into them as far as the unique issues that comes with being in that space. So they can join me on that free masterclass. It's August 27th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at www.EEmasterclass.com. They can register to join me.
Once again, listen on Refocus Radio, talking to our guest today, Monique Pearson. She's the CEO and founder of Soaring Without Limits Enterprises. You go to her website. It is IamMoniquePearson.com. Last thing I want to touch on as we have you on is let's dig in on you being the boss, being the CEO, being the founder, being the one who wears many hats. How has that journey been for you to be able to transition from military to having your own brand, being your own boss, and basically building it from ground up. What were some of the things you learned along the way about yourself?
One, my capacity. It was definitely way broader than I would have ever given myself credit for. I just can remember, because still am a dualpreneur, wondering if I had the capacity to work a full-time job and be able to start this business. And it just was a matter of definitely being mindful of my calendar and where I spent my time. So that did require getting up either earlier or staying up later in order to build SWOLE. So I was like, I cannot go and build someone else's empire 8 hours a day and allow mine to crumble. So always making sure that you have a strong why that is going to hold you beyond what you're feeling, doing it when you don't feel like it, keeping that honor and that commitment as to why you started your respective business in the first place. Keeping the main thing, that's what I had to do. And I think what I learned most was that I didn't have to do it all by myself. I think in the beginning, you're starting, you think you don't have the money or the funds to be able to hire, but there are other ways that you can glean. One, finding a supportive community of other entrepreneurs so that you may learn from the mistakes that they made that may cost you time, that may cost you resources, and then also taking advantage of the free resources that are available out there, such as Soar, where they'll assign you free mentorship. For the veterans, there is one called ACP, where I got a lot of help first getting in the early days for mentorship. And then for women, the NASDAQ Milestone Circle, which is a free 12-week program for women entrepreneurs that also gives you resources. So learning that I had other resources to tap into and that it wasn't totally on me to make this successful, I think that definitely helped me out a lot in the early days. And then, as I said, once I had that help in place, just being able to expand to writing books, to now doing the public speaking, to starting my own podcast. I just feel like a lot of times we may sell ourselves short because we're not willing to see what those and tap into those hidden capabilities. So I would challenge the audience to give yourself a chance and to try to step out on something new and just see like how you can continuously surprise yourself in a good way.
Like you said moments ago about understanding the resources that were available. I think that's crucial because in some cases, you can lose opportunity, a window of opportunity, because lack of self-awareness. And that's something that seems to kind of pop in the discussion when I have guests on. And for you as a former military personnel, what has the ability to understand, self-awareness, like, okay, this is crucial because like I can't just, be abstract with this. Everything has to be, logical in what I'm pursue. How has that helped you understand, like, okay, this is how I'm going to take my next step versus, I'll just live and see what happens?
I think definitely the military instilled a strong sense of having to be self-aware because it was not about me. When you are in a position of leadership and you're leading other people, and especially in the military, when you deploy, other people's lives are on your so you have no choice to be willy-nilly. You have to be intentional as to your decisions and how you move because you are pretty much responsible for however many individuals that are underneath your leadership. So being in a leadership position, and one who has had to speak for others and their well-being since being 21 years old, that really gave me a sense of taking things seriously, planning, far as looking down at far as what the consequences may be of my action. And then, of course, looking that there are other people who are looking up to me and depending on me. So when you think about it from that perspective, that really made me intentional as to how I moved, how I spent my time, what activities and things I may have engaged in because I wanted to be a good example for those who are coming up under me, and then, of course, those who I was leading.
Once again, true honor talking to our special guest today, Monique Pearson. Go to her website. It's IamMoniquePearson.com. Learn everything about her business, her books, her courses, and your podcast. You mentioned that. Is that something that is available now or coming in the future? And if so, what's the name of that show?
So the Triple E podcast, which is going to be premiering on August 30th at 7 p.m. You can find us on YouTube as well as Spotify. So super excited. So hopefully those who are interested in the areas that I'm speaking to, we're going to be speaking to how you can elevate, expand, and explore your mindset. I'm bringing in some powerful guests who are sharing their stories, their triumphs, their challenges as to how they were able to grow and elevate in all aspects of their lives.
If women are listening to this right now and they want to connect with you with, your websites and your services and your coaching and anything else, resources that you have to offer, what's the best way that they can get in contact with you? Maybe the best email or contact page?
Oh, definitely on my website, www.IamMoniquePearson.com. My contact form, you'll be able to get direct contact with me. Social media platforms, I'm on all of them under Monique Pearson. So whichever way they feel comfortable, definitely feel free to reach out. I would love to connect with you.
Well, like I always want to say to you, Monique, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for having me, Shemaya.